Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of National Focus. I'm your presenter Tarnia Green. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. Among the major developments, Dominica reports on its participation at the 9th session of the Commission on Phytosanitary Measures, which took place in Rome. The country's citrus certification program enhanced with new equipment, and a dispute resolution and competition law workshop to take place in Dominica later this month. Join me as I bring you the details of these and other stories coming up right after the break.
The black Sikatuka fungus can survive on banana and plantain leaves even after they have been cut from the tree. Farmers and hucksters are encouraged to use alternate cushioning material when moving produce from farm to the market. Do not use banana and plantain leaves as cushioning. It is against the law to move banana and plantain trash from the field. Obey the law and stop the spread of black Sikatuka today.
Thanks for staying with us. Time now for the details of the news. Head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit of the Division of Agriculture, Ryan Ansem, is back in Dominica following his participation at the 9th session of the Commission on Phytosanitary Measures, CPM, in Rome earlier this month. The CPM is the governing body for the International Plant Protection Convention, the IPPC, which deals with the protection of plant resources from quarantine pests internationally.
The meeting was held in Rome around the 30th to the 4th of April, the 30th of March to the 4th of April. Now, interestingly, the meeting started on a Sunday where they had a capacity building workshop to encourage member states to put systems in place to prevent pests and diseases globally. And Dominica participation was a very successful one. Together with 7 Caribbean countries, we were able to put the views of the Caribbean.
Ansem reports that Dominica, along with other Caribbean islands represented at the meeting, put a bid forward for the proper disposal of international garbage to be included on the CPM international standards.
One of the topics that we recommended for development of standard, which was the proper disposal of international garbage when we talk about the cruise ship and international airline. And the CPM was going to remove that from the standard setting process, and we were able to make a fuss and say that is very important for the region. And we being at the meeting, we were able to convince the body that the Caribbean is at risk, because when you talk about international garbage, you're talking about garbage coming from all parts of the world that can be disposed and handled in your territory. So that itself for the Caribbean was a success story.
The meeting was held at the headquarters of the Food and Agriculture Organization in Rome, at which 142 countries were represented. In other news, the citrus certification program of the Division of Agriculture has been greatly enhanced with the availability of a brand new mini excavator. The excavator was sourced by the European Union National Authorizing Office under a special support mechanism for Dominica's citrus certification program. On Wednesday, National Authorizing Officer for the EU Development Fund in Dominica, Carlin Roberts, officially presented the excavator keys to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Harold Geest.
We are very grateful to the European Union for this level of assistance given to the agriculture sector with regards to this piece of equipment that has been now made available for advancement of the certification program of the Division of Agriculture. This piece of equipment is certainly going to enhance the operational capacity of the staff of the citrus propagation section.
Coordinator of the Citrus Certification Program, Joseph Blandford, said the use of the excavator will accelerate the time in which citrus planting material is prepared.
It's a vital piece of equipment as we struggle annually with regards to key ingredients for media preparation. As you know, with production of planting material, you require certain media ingredients, and soil is one of those that every year we struggle to get sufficient amount to allow us for the production of planting material in this facility. So I think that this piece of equipment will go a long way in assisting us. As I said, soil is not something that you could go to Paris William and buy a dumper load. You almost any way you site good topsoil, you would want to capture it as quick as possible to ensure that you have the material for media preparation. So I see this piece of equipment will assist us in easing up some of the stresses that we encounter with getting good quality material. Sometimes you see it, and because of lack of equipment you cannot take that soil as quick as you would like to ensure that you can have sufficient on hand for media preparation.
Blandford noted that the ministry will realize significant savings as a result of this new excavator.
Labor is a serious constraint, resources is always a serious constraint. What 10 men you would require 10 men to do this piece of equipment can do that in just an hour. And I think that it will help us in terms of saving wise. Financially, it's always a pressure in terms of getting sufficient funds to do the activities that you want to do. But this piece of equipment will help us in ensuring that we can cushion that effect in terms of the labor constraint that we experience from time to time. So I think it is a worthwhile piece of equipment, and I think it has come at a timely opportunity where we are gearing up just for the second phase in terms of our production of planting material.
Citrus farmers also stand to benefit from the operations of the excavator. Planting material will now be made available to them at a reduced cost.
You will have a sustainable sort of project where you'll be able to produce your own medium, and as a result, you'll be able to provide the material, the planting material, the citrus plant to farmers at a much reduced cost, or basically maintain costs. So once again, I think we just need to pay gratitude to the European Union, Commonwealth of Dominica, for making this investment. And I think it's going to be worthwhile. And basically, the idea is to help the farmers at the end, so they get a cheaper material, produce citrus, export citrus, to bring some foreign exchange to the farmers and the people in the rural livelihoods.
The mini excavator, which is valued at EC $195,000, comes as part of a supply contract by the NAO and the National Farming and Water Solutions. The Ministry of Information, Telecommunications and Constituency Empowerment is preparing to host a dispute resolution and competition law workshop in Dominica later this month. The original workshop, the first of its kind to be held in Dominica, will seek, among other things, to provide participants with a broad understanding of international best practices relating to dispute resolution and competition law in the telecommunications sector. Director of Telecommunications in Dominica, Bennett Thomas, explains that based on significant changes made in the sector over the years, countries like Dominica now have to review and possibly revise their legal and regulatory frameworks in order to adapt to the new ICT environment.
We now have the possibility, and in most cases, we have issues developing, conflicts happening, and there must be some kind of mechanism put in place to resolve those disputes. And we have seen that happen over the last few years. We have seen mergers and acquisitions taking place. So there has to be some form of dispute resolution mechanism for us to deal with providers, providers with the regulators. There could be disputes also between the providers and consumers. And therefore, there must be some mechanism where we can solve those problems. The issue of anti-competitive behavior is also part of the process, and those can give rise to disputes and conflicts, and hence that ITU workshop is very, very critical at this point.
Government agencies, telecom regulators, as well as local service providers, including Digicel, Lime, SAT, Marpin 2K4, as well as consumers, are expected to attend the workshop to be held from April 22nd to the 24th at the Fort Young Hotel. The workshop will also cater to a number of regional participants and will be led by a team of international experts who previously facilitated ITU training workshops in the Caribbean and Africa. And the Ministry of Public Works, Energy and Ports, in partnership with the Castalia Consulting Group, presented an update on the National Energy Policy, or NEP, and the Sustainable Energy Plan, SEP, for Dominica last Monday. Members of the Castalia Consulting Group presented the reviews, findings, and updates on the process of implementing sustainable geothermal in Dominica, which has been ongoing for over 5 years. Practice leader for the renewable energy and energy efficiency, Gianmarco Serviti, said the government of Dominica has accomplished much in its efforts. He said the government is now on what is considered the preparatory phase of the implementing the program, which involves the passing of legislation dealing with geothermal. Serviti noted that moving from the construction phase of geothermal plants, the next step would be to enacting key policies for energy efficiency and conservation. The official provided more insight into these policies.
There's three sets of policies that you can think about. First being information, second being standards, and the third being retrofit. So first, for information, what do we mean by information? Well, information is key to energy efficiency. People need to know, these are, if you invest in a piece of equipment, you need to know about how that equipment will perform. And also you need to know that it's there, and you need to know how to, we talked about the conservation piece, you need to know how to conserve energy. So information means making sure that people know these things. So just having standards. If you label products, this is a picture here is of the Energy Star product labels that you'd see in the United States. Having a label standard that you require to be printed on a product will help people know how much the product saves and how much it would save them over the course of its lifetime. And they can then compare their purchases more carefully.
He noted that a major focus of the policy is on ensuring that the existing stock of buildings become more efficient. The practice leader highlighted that another policy would be to implement tailored actions for efficiency in areas such as transport, agriculture, domestic, and tourism.
Transport, that means that you have, when there's new vehicles that come to the island, making sure that those new vehicles that come in are efficient, making sure that the existing vehicles are maintained so that they run properly. Also, expanding public transport so fewer people feel the need to use cars. Agriculture, making sure that the practices are as up to date as possible, that energy is being used efficiently, and also expanding self-generation. So that would mean that if you're an agricultural producer, say you have a storage facility, perhaps it would make sense to use that storage facility to have solar panels, or maybe there's agricultural waste that you could be using to generate biogas and then run a small generation unit with that biogas. Again, tourism, there's the opportunity for self-generation and of course always the opportunity for more efficient consumption of electricity.
Senior analyst Lars Olsen indicated that the last policy area is to strengthen institutions and secure the necessary funding.
Strengthening the institutions and securing the necessary funding. The objective that the NEP states is to empower and develop the capacity of the energy unit within the ministry to ensure successful implementation of the National Energy Policy and the Sustainable Energy Plan. And of course, this doesn't mean working in isolation. Actually, it means the opposite. Making sure that there can be a good interaction between the public sector and the private sector that is called upon to develop so much of all of this. So strengthening the energy unit, building on the geothermal unit that has been present for a while, a geothermal development unit, now that there are so many other things to do, from interacting with private investors, to developers, to the technicians, securing the required funding, making sure that the money is always there for investing in capital, but also for technical assistance.
He noted that industry and commerce are also areas needed to be strengthened for more efficiency. And finally, the Global Environmental Facility GEF Small Grants Program provided its National Steering Committee with a brief tour of various environmental projects currently in progress in Roseau last week. One of these projects is solar panel and composting unit project implemented at the Dominica Community High School, costing just about $50,000. National Coordinator of the GEF Small Grants Program, Agnes Esprit, provided a brief overview of the program's investment in the Dominica Community High School, stating that through the efforts of the GEF Small Grants, the school has realized great savings.
At the Community High School, we have funded a project to enable the school to move towards its goal to become a green school. And we started off by providing funds that enable them to be a to use solar energy for most of their operations. As Mrs. Nicholas pointed out, they have reduced the electricity bill to Domlec to about less than $5, whereas before it was over $500 for the use of the solar energy. The school is also into other initiatives, including the composting that will support the agricultural production, the agricultural program, and they're also into production of virgin coconut oil. So the solar energy also supports the other activities to reduce the cost of producing the coconut oil and other aspects of the programming.
Principal of the Dominica Community High School, Celia Nicholas, says this is in keeping with the school's motto, self-reliance for a better future. She added that the project has aided tremendously in their efforts to becoming a green school.
So we have our solar energy system, and I can tell you it has made a tremendous impact for us, tremendous impact. Okay, not even in the science, the children are learning, they are observing, but also financially. I mean, the bills that we had to pay for electricity, they have dropped tremendously. And this is very important because we need a lot of electricity to support our agricultural activity. We have a poultry farm, so you know that is important too. We also look at our chicken farm with our students, and we supply chicken to the students and friends of the school, etc. We also have eggs, but more importantly is the pen manure. We use the pen manure for our production. So we have livestock and we also have plants. And you notice we have our greenhouse and we also have plants outside of the greenhouse. And this is important to us, again, to show our students keeping a green environment, because that is part of our solar system project, to be part of the world, to have a green environment.
Nicholas noted that the government-assisted school was delighted to undertake this project, which simultaneously generates income and teaches students the principle of finding alternatives. She informed GIS News that some of the products are sold to profit the school. The composting aspect of the project is being used towards agriculture programs such as the school's greenhouse. The principal indicated that the students are responsible for the upkeep of the schoolyard and expressed hope that the solar system could be expanded throughout the entire school. She commended the National Steering Committee for assisting in the development of the youth and, in turn, Dominica.
We would like to thank Ms. Esprit in particular, because since she was at the basic needs trust, she assisted us, and when she moved across, she moved with our interests at heart. And I have to thank her for that and for continuing to demonstrate interest in the young people of Dominica, because at the end of it, we are doing it for the young people of Dominica to have more opportunities, expanded opportunities, to have a better education, to have an international education, to have to equip themselves so that they can be better citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica and, of course, of the world.
Member of the Steering Committee and Chief Fisheries Officer Andrew McGlaw believes that greater effort should be made at a government level to use more solar energy to demonstrate the seriousness of harnessing our natural resources. He appeals to other schools to take up the example set by the Dominica Community High School. Meanwhile, the school is also undertaking another program of producing coconut oil through funding from the Jeff Small Grants Program. Principal of the student body, Celia Nicholas, explained that though the project has potential, the resources are not enough to meet the demand.
We have sent oil to St. Kitts, to Tortola, to Guadeloupe, to Martinique. We have an order now of 60 bottles for somebody who's ordering it. And there's a friend of mine who came here, a chemist, and it is said that there's a molecule involved in the coconut oil which is responsible for the cure of Alzheimer's. So he's doing some tests on it, Alzheimer's. So he's doing some tests on it for me. So I hope the outcome is that it's patented, we can share the profits. But what is happening now, the demand is great, but our resources cannot meet the demand.
She is optimistic that the necessary funding will be provided to fully implement this project. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Louis. Premièrement, National Employment Program ni un aspect développement community. Parole celle-là sortie au ministre Employment, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre.
Nous avons community beautification and planter plan, nettoyer tout partout. Comme si les fêtes Dominique plus net, vous savez, nous monde comme ça, comme si vous allez là, brush cutters, chainsaw pour, quand il y a ça landscaping pour tirer tous ces vieux bois comme si so il y a des teams comme ça. Et ben nous l'autre qui monde qui ka coude, à Guabe nous un groupe là tout, et ben nous monde qui ka garder tourisme, nous mettez plus monde mettez d'autres monde côté c'est place là pour garder pour aider ces touristes là ils venir. So nous ka partner, nous ka regarder yon des trois d'autres projets à communautaire là nous ka parler même chikungunya là qui ka affecter mon naturellement. Ani des maïka yani ba mon maladie. Nous ka regarder comment NEP ça aider Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health c'est yon c'est ministère qui partner puis nous bien fort et ben nous les monde là qui expertise et yo ka travail. And National Employment Program ça c'est un programme qui bien sérieux. C'est un programme nous ni l'argent pour.
Dans la nouvelle, Dominique était bien représenté en meeting IPPC qui était en place en Rome, Italie. Ça fait standard pour empêcher certaines maladies one-way sinon pas gars qui a passé discuter en meeting cela. Chef officier quarantine Dominique Ryan Ansem représenté Dominique en meeting là.
Nous parlons contre standard, comment nous mettre standard en place pour nous pêcher maladies one-way à d'autres pays. Et yon ces standards là nous là région Caraïbes là nous fait yo mettre un standard vieux pour yo développer standard ça là c'est un standard qui est là mon cruise ship et bagay ça ka mettre garbage bite dispose garbage et standard ça là même important pour région et nous là si nous partons là yo te tirer avec travail IPPC. Nous faisons mettre nous parler, nous dire important pour les gens.
En la nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique ni plan pour pousser le vent pour transformer ville Roseau en ville bien moderne en pays OECS. Parole celle-là sortie au ministre de l'État, ministre étranger, honorable sénateur Alvin Bernard. Si l'ancien sénateur Bernard, gouvernement qui tout de suite lancé un gros projet pour ville Roseau, comme par programme Urban Renewal. Et des visions projet ça c'est pour développer un moderne bien net et puis pour taper bagaille économique qui mette attention à ces services, culture, art et puis sport. Ministre Bernard aussi fait parole qui infrastructure ça c'est bagaille comme pont et bagaille comme ça ville Roseau qui recevait attention. Sénateur Bernard aussi fait parole qui projet là qui créé employement. Et puis finalement, ministre péché, honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, Representant Dominique en meeting Minister Péché qui prend place en Japan. Si le ministre Darrow, bagay ka conseiller développement discuté en meeting cela.
Eh bien, généralement, c'était un bon meeting pour nous voir comment c'est bien au sein de governance, c'est bien ça marche. Yon se pliam pour moi-même, yon se pliam important meeting là, c'est il ba moi une chance pour discuter plus avec ces officiels japonais où j'attends moi parler à l'autre fois avant quand on propose développement non pour stocker vers la où stocker faut ces gens et bien ça fait moi ba moi opportunité pour discuter en plus avec ces officiels japonais avec moi sortir au Japon week-end ça plus confident que projet ça qui implémenté tout de suite.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
When we come back, we'll tell you why drinking more water could be beneficial to your body. Stay with us.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
On today's tip of the day, we'll tell you more about the importance of drinking water on a daily basis. Having 8 glasses of water every day do not only cut down your body fat, but is also great to get rid of toxins that build up in your system. Have whole fruits. While having juices is convenient, it is best to have whole fruits as they provide better quantities of fiber and are way more filling. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. From all of us here at the GIS News Desk, I'm your presenter, Tarnia. Thank you so much for watching, and do remember to join us again tomorrow.